out to ask kind of what was going on. Just we do preface that we do have a venue down the street from us that does weddings and other things.
Okay.
So cars on the road aren't necessarily a hot topic right away.
Sure.
But when we went out to go ask what they were doing, figured, if they're for the venue or whatever, just wanted them not to park in the yard. Went out, people started getting out of their car wearing, BLM shirts, and we kind of at that point realized we know who lives in the community with us, and that, we needed to come together to make sure that nothing happened.
And Jamie, what was your reaction as all of this started to unfold in the earliest part of the evening?
I was scared. When I started seeing the people get out of the cars, many of them were dressed in black, had hoods on, had masks over their face. I'm the administrator of our neighborhood Facebook page, so I sent out an alert on the Facebook page that there's people with masks walking down the street and 40-ish cars. And luckily, one of our neighbors down the road was just getting ready to leave, and she saw these people coming and was suspicious as well, and she blocked the street with her vehicle.
Is that blue pickup truck that I've seen in the photos?
No, that was the second half. So when
Okay.
we met with resistance in the beginning, they drove away and parked at a local convenience place and kind of got back together, and then they walked in on foot. And so the blue vehicle blocked that other street to keep them from coming back.
Now, Whit, there have been nightly, what they call protests. They are generally riots, domestic terrorism, because terrorism is you try to terrorize somebody's home, their family, to control their thinking or their public position on things. So that's why I have no problem thinking of this as domestic terrorism. What were you, Whit, and your neighbors prepared to do to defend your neighborhood against this crowd?
Defend is the right word, but I think more than anything, we were prepared to remove the terrorists from the area that they were now in. We pushed them back in the sense of asking them honestly, we asked a lot of questions. They got uncomfortable. They moved back. We then moved barriers in the sense of cars in order to continue to push back. The hard thing here is, like you say, terrorism. I mean, these guys have the opportunity to do one thing, and that's light a fire, a firework, a Molotov cocktail, whatever it may be. The spark goes out, and then, now we have a neighborhood in crisis, and that's just what we couldn't have. And as a neighborhood, we all banded together knowing that, and we were willing to, push back as hard as we could with, our as peaceful means as possible and wait for police. We have a wonderful sheriff with Adam Fortney, and he has done nothing but support, the communities up in the North End. And for that, they were there when we called.
You say you're ready to do as much as possible peacefully. Were you guys armed?
There was, that I know of, only one visible firearm.
One visible. No, I love this so much because I've watched these Seattle neighborhoods get terrorized. In the CHOP zone, it was for weeks and weeks and weeks. Businesses, people who lived in the apartments. On Wednesday night, there was a march through a Queen Anne neighborhood, and a guy in his Queen Anne home came out because they were making so much noise after midnight, and they beat him so badly, they put him in the hospital. And so we've certainly seen what these mobs are able to do and what they have done in the past if you show weakness. And the fact that your neighborhood, Whit, showed strength is the reason why I'm convinced, and I'm curious your view on this, I'm convinced that's why nothing was burned and no graffiti was sprayed.
We adamantly agree. We united as a community and came together to defend ourselves against illegitimate claims in a mob. We have fortunately a very prominent member that's a part of our community, and for that, one, we don't credit her with any, with this as coming to us because of her. we don't feel it's her fault that they came. We feel that it's not right that this is the venue that they're taking it to, right? There's City Hall, there's police, one police plaza. I mean, that's where you demonstrate, that's where you protest, that's where you actively, peacefully get your voice heard. You don't terrorize a neighborhood in order to attempt to get your voice out there.
This just shows that it takes people, local residents, to get together and say no. When the local government doesn't say no, it has come to us saying, no, this is unacceptable. You're not going to be here.
Well, and I was going to ask you, Jamie, is there also something about not just your neighborhood, but about Carmen Best as a neighbor that made everybody want to stand up and support and defend her in her home?
Honestly, not much of us even know her. She's incredibly busy. She's rarely ever home. I've only talked to one neighbor that actually just knows her a little bit. We all got together because we know she's there, not because we know her, but we know what was going on and what their intentions were wrong.
Well, and I also heard that her husband and daughter were terrified and they had to flee their home and go to the command center. That's all true,
Yep.
Is it? Okay.
Yes.
All right.
They had just picked their daughter up from the airport, were coming home, they checked and left because they didn't want to put themselves in harm's way.
Yeah, I don't blame them. This is, it's so sad what's happening with these mobs, these domestic terrorists. But I got to tell you guys, amidst all the darkness of these stories, the steady drumbeat of these stories the last couple of months, you two and all of your other neighbors, you give me goosebumps and you give me hope because it's a reminder that there are still some Americans who are willing to stand up for themselves and for their neighbor. And at a time when we are all being abandoned by our politicians, I just love your story. And I can't tell you how much I admire what you and all of your neighbors did.
Well, and I think the biggest thing that we have going for us as a community is knowledge. And, hopefully this message between your show and others, the message gets out there that we, American people, community members, need to stand up. And it's not fight back, we're here.
Yeah.
And, I think it's natural to be afraid. That's how I felt in the beginning. And, I want people to know it's okay to be afraid, but it's also okay to stand up and say no. You can't just go around harassing people. It's not right, no matter who you are.
On the private road. Get out of here. There's a private drive. Get out of the road.
You point to the gun.
We don't have guns. We're fine. We don't have
We are
guns.
here to peacefully assemble.
They're going to shoot us.
No. Peacefully assemble in somebody else's fucking neighborhood.
We are peaceful.
Go.
You point to the gun at my
Just
face.
go. Yep.
That's why you're peaceful.
Go.
No. You're not peaceful.
Stop. Enough.
Go.
We don't have guns. You're the ones with guns.
Thank you.
Protesters walking and you draw your weapons. That's what happened here.
I have a fucking license for it.
We don't have weapons.
This was public property. Our taxpayers pay for those roads. We have a right to walk there.
We're looking for our friends. We don't care about you guys.
Quit yelling at me. Quit yelling.
It's on video. Wait. So you're telling on video that you're not going to move your truck that's blocking a public street for us to exercise our First Amendment right. You're basically saying we can't exercise our First. I'm going to do that. So you're saying we can't exercise our First Amendment right? You're blocking our First Amendment right by putting your truck in the middle of a public street. So you're saying that we don't have the right to exercise our First Amendment right? Is that what you're saying, sir? By not moving your truck, that's what you're saying, right?
Did you get this one?
I just parked my truck there.
No, but it's on a public road.
Can you get their address as well? The call that I made was to 911 asking them to come out and assist.
Why did you call 911?
Because I don't need all of this in here.
No.
Oh, okay. So the people who walked by and flipped off my family, the kids, the people who walked by and flipped off my family,
Your children are.
Imagine how I feel like every day. Imagine what I feel every day. Imagine the fear I live in every day just for being black. Oh, you're scared of somebody cussing at you? You're scared of somebody cursing at you? Just imagine how much fear I'm in every day because I'm black.
We actually
Like, come on now. That was real. That was real white privilege of you to say that.
For transportation.
No, for safety.
Our people have been murdered because people
Murdered.
Yeah, the I-5 incident was us. Yeah, that was us. Yeah, that's why the cars are necessary. Technically, you're preventing fire and EMS from getting through here. That's one. That's one thing. That's against the law. Who knows? If your neighbor's having a heart attack.
No, let me know. Let me explain a perfect reason why EMS could want to get here. You're blocking the way of our protective cars to get through the road. One of your racist neighbors who already came out with guns, you let me finish talking. One of your neighbors who already came out with guns in our faces decides to hurt our people, okay? Who do we need to come over here and help us?
If nobody's on their property, they don't have nothing to protect against. If we're on the public street, we're not going to touch your property.
No, we don't care.
We don't care about people's property.
A genuine question for you. What do you think that we might do?
Honestly.
You guys can break out windows.
Oh my, we don't give a fuck about your property. We don't give a fuck about anyone's property.
If I told you that we do this every night and that
never happened?
Councilmember Dan Strauss, hey listen, Councilmember Dan Strauss literally came on a whole march with us last night. Okay, well I'm gonna tell you, Dan Strauss, Seattle City Council member in District 6, I'm sure you've heard of him. He literally attended our whole march yesterday. Nothing happened to him. He walked amongst the crowd, everything. We walked through his neighborhood and ballot and all that. Nothing happened. No windows got broke. Nobody was hurt. It was a peaceful protest like it's always been every day for the past 60 days with us.
I don't know that though.
Okay, but now we're telling you this.